Hey everybody, I had a weird little thought. I was thinking about telling you about the little itty bitty threats we have. They're serious, but maybe not so serious. Number one is rattlesnakes. Now, for the most part, when we moved up here 48 years ago or so, we didn't have hardly any rattlesnakes that we noticed. But the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, they've been getting more and more and more. Like one day, I went out, I was in our mudroom there, I was walking out, and I heard this little, it sounded like a, you know, if you had a water leak, and it was a, you know, not a, it was a, and I wondered what the hell that was, you know. And I couldn't believe what it was. And I'm in flip-flops and shorts. And I'm looking, you know, it seemed like it was coming from the corner of the mudroom. So I'm in there, and there's a teenage rattlesnake curled up about a foot. I don't think it was more than a foot from my foot. And I froze because you know, I've seen rattlesnakes before, you know, semi-close, but not that close. So I knew they always used to say you can never what's the word I'm looking for here? But you're never faster than a rattlesnake. So I figured this is all happening in my mind in a split second. I figured if I pull my foot away, it's going to get me. So I didn't know what to do. So he's rattling away, but his rattle, because he was a small rattlesnake, I guess. I'm not a rattlesnake expert like maybe some of you are out there, but it was such a small, you know, rattlesnake. It was, you know, a little tiny, and it didn't have that sound. It had the like a kind of a thing. And anyway, so I didn't know what to do. So I went ahead and I just happened to have, believe it or not, I just happened to have a square tip shovel. We don't keep stuff in our mudroom like that. We were doing some digging, came in and left it in the mudroom. Thank the Lord. So I didn't know what to do. But I was in reach, so I picked it up and I got it. And then real similar time, we're going out the door, in our front door, into the mudroom, and there's a long rattlesnake stretched across the front door threshold. It's about 3 foot from the front door, and it's stretched out. And it's alive. It's a good size, maybe 3 feet, I think, maybe something like that. So I go, I don't know what to do, you know. So I'm thinking, well, we're trapped in our house. The back door has got a 13-foot drop, you know. So I didn't know what to do. He was sitting there, wasn't moving, but he was alive. So we ended up getting because we didn't have no shovel or nothing then. So I got it was a broom, and I went out. And I, you know, kind of hit it a little bit, and it went into the corner where the other one was, basically. So then I got it in the corner, and it's rattling away. And so I went up and I got my square tip shovel out of the garage, and I came back and got it. Then a little while later, I'm going up to one of the wooden garages. I call it the wood garage because we got 2 metal ones, so I'm going to wood. And there's another one. Sit there, and he's sleeping or something because he's not curled up, but he's a teenager, and he's right. I would normally I don't walk with my eyes at my feet, but I'm learning. But I'm I'm looking ahead, you know. Just by chance, I was walking out there, and I was looking at my feet, and he was 3 feet from my feet. Now he was asleep or something because he was just sitting there, and So I got, whoa, and so I backed off and got a shovel and got him too. But, and then at the same year, my grandson, Jeff, they had a big rattlesnake, and they got little children, little kids, little kids, a few years old, and they were going out to their truck, and there was a big rattlesnake right by the rear. I think it was the rear tire, and Jeff got them too. But I don't know what's happening, because we'd see an occasional rattlesnake, here and there, not around the house and stuff like that for the most part. But the last couple of years, it's been pretty hairy. The other thing is wasps. We have the yellow jacket wasps, and they're not meat bees. These are wasps, hornets. They're yellow, and it seems like you'll have an infestation of them every 2 or 3 years. They're not too bad for 2 years. Then all of a sudden they're everywhere. They're just, and then it'll, maybe a year or two you don't have them. But this one year we were having them all the time for about 2 years, actually, about 2 years. And we ended up, I've never seen nothing like this in my life. It was the weirdest thing. We have on the lower property, we have a pump house. It's a 8x8, and it's enclosed. Our well's inside there, and it's just a framed-in deal, nothing fancy, and open bottom on it and stuff like that. And the well's in there, and all the pump and all that. And we were sitting there, or we weren't, but it was really cold out. It was like a cold snap not in the middle of summer, but it had been pretty warm, and then it had a cold snap. And I opened up, and this is a door that's just I built it, just a 2x4 door with some siding on it, nothing fancy. And I opened it, and there had to be 1,000, I know, guys, 1,000, but 500, 1,000, whatever. The whole inside of the door, where the 2x4 framing was, they were wall to wall wasps. They weren't moving because it's too cold. They hadn't woke up yet or warmed up or whatever. But they were side by side, thousands of them, and I checked that, and they were everywhere else in the pump house too, but mainly it was on the door. What I noticed, because I opened up the door and here they are right there. I go, whoa, but they weren't moving because it was too cold. Must have been in the 20s or 30s or something like that. I'm not sure. And they ended up, I ended up going to get some of that wasp spray and killed them all. I was just killing, as I was putting the spray down, they were just falling off. But that was a weird deal, because I never seen that many wasps that close. I mean, they were shoulder to shoulder all the way down, rows of them. The whole, I'd say 3/4 of the, 2/3 minimum, maybe even 3/4 of the interior wall was coated with them, trying to stay warm, I guess. And so that was one of the weird things we've had up here on the insect or threat deal. The other one was we get the same thing as the wild. We get meat bees. They're little yellow. They're a bee, but they're huh?
They are yellow jacket. Their purple name is.
Well, some call them a yellow jacket. I call them meat bees. Everybody up here calls them meat bees. They look like a bee, but they're yellow. And they were. Oh, geez, I can't remember now. Let me think. They were. Oh yeah, but they go the same thing. About every other year, they get heavy, and then they're lighten up, and they get heavy and stuff like that. I was out my backhoe, and I was digging around, and I guess they they say in dirt. I don't know if that's all they do, but that's what they do. And I was digging some trenches, and all of a sudden I hit this trench, and excuse me, and all of a sudden a billion of these meat bees came out, and I'm in a backhoe with no cab, and they're attacking, the bucket on the backhoe. They're attacking it, but they're pissed. So I sit there and I kind of backed away, But meat bees are mainly, like I said, every few years they'll come out kind of heavy, and they're not too bad. My wife's allergic to the wasp stings, and so is my grandson. So we really pay attention, because one bite and they're going to the hospital. So, but the meat bees was weird, and I was hoping that they were not going to, realize that I'm driving a tractor, but they're just swarming around the bucket trying to get that done. And a little, kind of a little story here, nothing serious, but there was this hive of bumblebees, I guess the big black ones. And I would walk, one of the old logging roads I cleaned up. I was walking around in there, and I've been stung by scorpions. I've been stung by wasps a lot, and so I know what most of it's about, but I was walking maybe about 15 feet away from this. I guess it's bumblebees, the big black bees, and he hit me in the arm, and I'll tell you that was the worst sting I ever got. It felt like somebody put a 16-penny nail right in my arm. I'm not trying to be a wimp or nothing here for you guys that have had a lot worse than that happen to you. I know that, but it was a bad deal. I heard that was the one bite or sting. But anyway, I want to let you know on that, and I kind of an oddball video, but maybe you've been bit, stung, got a story to tell. Let me know. There was one other story. The guy, I was building a house, and the insulation guys had come in to hang insulation, and so all of a sudden this guy runs into me and says, my guy's been stung by a wasp. And I says, okay, well, what's the big deal? He goes, he's allergic to them. We got to get him out of here. I said, okay, fine. So I went out in the front yard, and the guy was on the ground in the fetal position, shaking. And it was scary. So my wife has had a sting or two. We've had to bring her to the hospital to get a shot. And my grandson's the same way. So if you're allergic to them, pretty serious. I'm not allergic to them, but it hurts. But anyway, for what it's worth, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.